questions that Alabama Crimson Tide fans they think about, that they want to know, they are inquisitive on during this time of the year. And those three questions just so happen to be, number one, who will be the first player off the board in terms of the draft? Now, I think the first player that will come off the board will be Tua Tagovailoa to the Los Angeles Chargers with the 6th overall pick. The second question Tide Nation has is, how many Bama players will go in the first round? I've been fighting with the number 5 for a moment now, but in the last couple of weeks, a 6th player has hit my mind. Not going to tell you who the 6th player is off the bat, but there's a 6th player that has hit my mind, which makes us down to the third question, and it's, who will be the steal of the draft for the Crimson Tide players? And that question is always tricky because there are so many variables that go into that, right? Who makes the pick? What round is it? What number is it? The organization the player could come to, the front office the player could go to. Is it the right fit? There are so many variables when you discuss who could be or who would be the steal of the draft. And recently here for Alabama, you can go back to Eddie Jackson when you discuss in the 2017 venue, he was a first-round value that went in the 4th round. He got hurt in the 2016 game against Texas A&M on a kickoff return, suffered a horrific leg injury, and the conversation for a lot of you out there in Bama Nation, if Jackson does not get hurt, Alabama beats Clemson for a second time in the college football playoff national title game, but that's besides the point. Jackson gets hurt, but thankfully, Jeff Allen, Alabama's head athletic trainer, Dr. James Andrews, and the rest of that staff were able to patch him up, stitch him up, get him healed up, and put him into the NFL draft, where he went 4th round, pick 112 to the Chicago Bears, and boy, did the monsters of the Midwest luck out with that one, because Eddie Jackson is the highest paid safety in the league and one of the best young defenders in the league. So while Jackson is the most recent one of steals in the draft in terms of Alabama players, who would be the steal of a draft for the Tide in this venue? And while I got a chance to listen to Mad Dog Sports Radio on last week, and they had Fran Tarkenton, Pro Football Hall of Famer, on, and he mentioned that Jalen Hurts would be the steal of a draft, and he gave his reasons. And while I would agree with what Tarkenton said, of whom ushered in the mobile, dual-threat, scrambling quarterback, henceforth the nickname Scrambling Fran, I'm going to give my opinion on who I think the steal of a draft is. Give me Terrell Lewis. Give me Terrell Lewis, the 6'5", 262-pound outside linebacker, edge rusher, the pride of Washington, D.C., former 5-star in the 2016 class. And the reason why I say Terrell Lewis is Lewis is already being doubted, right now. There was an individual on Twitter over the weekend, as you see the tweet come up on screen here. He mentioned that Terrell Lewis, he said, mark my words, Terrell Lewis will be a bust. And of course, Lewis clapped back with, you want to bet your salary on that? So Lewis already, with the determination and the mindset to prove people wrong. And while it is debatable for a lot of people to ask last season, were there moments where you thought Lewis may have saved himself for the NFL draft? Did he really and truly give his all every game throughout the season? Yes, that is debatable. Yes, that is up for discussion. Yes, you can make that thought. But when you watched him on the field in 2019, there were moments where he took over. There were moments where he single-handedly impacted football games. There were moments where he made the life of the opposing quarterback just an absolute living nightmare. There were moments where he wreaked havoc, and he was absolutely a dominating force. So you go back and you look at the 2019 season, Terrell Lewis, 31 tackles, 11 and a half tackles for loss, which was second behind Anthony Jennings, 6 sacks, second behind Anthony Jennings, a team high 16 quarterback hits, quarterback pressures. He also had a fumble recovery. Now, there were 3 games where he really, truly, completely flipped the script and just dominated. Now, he actually wore a towel on his belt this past season that had the term flip the script on there. But there was 3 games in the 2019 season, game 6 to game 8. So the middle of the year, he went off. And you look at Arkansas, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. Those 3 games combined here, Terrell Lewis, 13 of his 31 tackles came in those 3 games combined. He had 4 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 8 quarterback hurries, just being an absolute nuisance getting into the backfield and harassing the opposing passer. And when I look at Tinglu, just starting off with his strengths here in terms of the NFL, number one, you got to go up that size at 6'5", 262 pounds, built like the Terminator, built like Optimus Prime, built like Megatron out there trying to make his way or make his stamp on the defensive side of the football. So you got the size there. You got the quickness there. He's got tremendous quickness. His first step off the snap of the ball, it's explosive, it's intentional, it's efficient, it's effective, it's getting to the quarterback. How can I get to the quarterback? How can I affect the quarterback with my first step? So quick off the football, explosive off the football. He's got great footwork. Great feet in terms of shuffling the feet, getting his way around offensive linemen, being able to either go inside, go outside. So you've got the footwork there. He's got power hands. Very, very good hand strike. And with the technique, shedding offensive linemen off of him, making his way into the backfield. He's got strong edge bending abilities. So the ability to bend off the edge, convert speed to power. So all of these are kind of his strengths. And once he makes contact to the quarterback, more times than not, or at most times, he does tend to finish the play. So those are just the strengths there. In terms of the weaknesses, he did have major injuries. 2017 and 2018 did not play much at all, did not play the entire 2018 season. 2017 season, got hurt in the season opener against Florida State, hurt his elbow, missed the majority of the year, did not come back until the Auburn game in the latter portion of the regular season. And despite the loss to Auburn, the Crimson Tide suffered there, did get a chance to play in the semifinal against Clemson, and then made his appearance in the national championship game against Georgia, having that huge sack of Jake Fromm in the title game. So he's had some injuries. There are moments where he's not the best coverage linebacker, and in the NFL, they're going to be asking for you to play tight ends, to play running backs, being flanked out, being flexed out wide. He's going to be asked to cover in different systems, which is the reason why he's got to fit into that right system to where they may not ask him or demand of him or require of him to cover on certain situations, on certain downs. He was never asked to be a coverage linebacker at Alabama. So coverage skills could use some work. He's got to be able to consistently finish plays. Going back to the matchup against LSU, there were moments where Lewis has Joe Burrow in his grasp. He has Joe Burrow for a sack. He has Joe Burrow for a tackle. He has Burrow in his sights to stop him from converting on a third down, and unfortunately just was not able to finish the play. So consistency on finishing plays. Got to get better with trusting his eyes. There are moments where Lewis tends to over-pursue a play. So he's got some strengths there, but he's got some weaknesses there that he has to work on. Now, according to NFL.com, he was given a grade of 6.29, which that grade means he will be a good backup with potential to become a starter. Good backup with potential to be a starter. The grade there for Terrell Lewis, once again, at 6.29. When he first came in to Alabama in 2016, people immediately saw how freakishly athletic he was, because if you go to the 2017 spring game, Tua Tagovailoa's freshman year, at 6'5", 252 pounds then, Lewis, he dropped back in the coverage, picked the ball off, and returned it 60 yards for a touchdown, and fans were going, huh? Hold on, wait. Did that just happen? He's that big, that physical, that monstrous, that type of size, that type of footwork, that type of mean streak, and he's able to drop back in coverage and get pick sixes too? Is this an android or is this a human? Who is this? So that type of playmaking ability already had Tide fans very much so intrigued. And prior to, and during, the injuries that he had, you only had sort of those fleeting images, of Lewis when it comes to the big plays he was able to make until 2019, to where he was actually able to play the majority of a full season. And when he wanted to, there were moments where you could turn on the tape, you watched him on the field, and he was just able to really physically dominate the opposition. So to me, I feel like the steal of a draft will be Terrell Lewis, just based on where does he go. Will he be a first rounder? Will he be an early second rounder? I have him as a late first rounder at number 28 overall to the Baltimore Ravens, but we shall see what happens. But me personally, I have him as my steal of the draft. But we're going to go to our first break here on In My Own Words, the podcast. Don't touch that dial. Just get started on a Monday. Upon our return, we have your phone calls, your tweets, your thoughts, your text messages, your concerns after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care. In support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Make sure to subscribe before it's too late and get our new freshly printed end of the year magazine issue. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Thank you for watching Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel. To continue to get the best of the Alabama football content, subscribe here and turn on your notifications to stay connected with the hottest shows covering your Crimson Tide.